G'day you lot, it's Mullet Mick here again from Wildlife Unleashed. Welcome back to another episode. This is Rufus. He's coming over to feed the crocs with us. Come over this way, rightio. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a bit more of a yarn about our crocodiles. So we've got two salties here at Wildlife Unleashed, but we've also recently just got a freshwater crocodile, which we would love to introduce to you guys. So let's go have a bit of a look at their setup. So this is where it all happens. This is where all the magic happens. This is the crocodilian compound, we call it, here at Wildlife Unleashed. So got two salties in here, Littlefoot and Chomper. And this one right here is the brand new freshwater crocodile enclosure. So what I'll do is I'll whip out our little fishing device so that we can grab him out if he's out of reach. This is the Croc Capture 2000. And we'll grab him out so you can have a bit of a look. So I designed this enclosure a little bit differently to the saltwater crocodiles enclosure, because what we were finding with that one is that now they're getting pretty full on and they're pretty keen on their tucker. So when we go to open it up, they just come barging out and striking out, and it's obviously a bit of a drop from that enclosure. So it wasn't the ideal setup. So this one I made a little bit differently. So we actually have to lean into it so they're not going to come striking out and falling out. But this guy here, he's a little bit more timid. So what I'll do is, I'll just prop that up. That's the propping up device right there. And you can see this enclosure is a bit differently designed as well. What this actually is a bit of a water trough. So a cattle or horse water trough that I've bought off somebody and modified it into being a freshy pond. So I made a frame for it, made this timber frame for it, made a little bit of a garden bed off the end here. So we got sand in that, so you can have a bit of a dig in the sand. I planted a grass, which is absolutely going off. Give them a little bit of shade. I've got that shade cloth on there as well. And then I've got a bit of a ramp here, so a bit of a gradual incline. We find with our crocs that they absolutely love having a bit of a gradual incline out of the pool, somewhere they can sort of rest in the water, plant their feet on the bottom, they can lift their head up, a head shake their food all around, all that kind of stuff. They absolutely love it. But let's have a look at this guy. So he loves hiding out, which is exactly what I expected him to do, is hide out underneath this little platform here. So he absolutely loves hanging out here. Oh, I've got him. Oi, settle. Drop that down for a second. All right, have a look at this guy. So this one is Tango, and he's a little freshwater crocodile. How cute is he? So we actually got given this guy from a little wildlife park down in Brisbane called Walkabout Creek Wildlife Park, and they had him off display. So he used to be in an on display enclosure, then he was just sitting in an off display enclosure. It wasn't getting used, so they figured it'd be best for him to come to us so that we could use him for education. So now we get the opportunity to take this freshwater crocodile into schools, into daycare centres, show them to all the kids and teach them all about our beautiful crocodiles. He's still a little bit shy, this guy. You can hear him crying. So that's the sound babies make to call out to their mum. They'll continue making that sound well and truly up until they're about 8, even up to 10 years of age if they're restrained. And that's just calling mum in. They're such good mums. The mum comes over to beat up anybody that's trying to muck with them. So never muck with wild crocodiles. But this little guy here, mum's nowhere to be seen. I'm his mum. He's just saying, feed me. And I'll put him back in just a second. But he's still getting used to being handled a little bit more. But isn't he cute? So these guys, you can see, they're a little bit different to the saltwater crocodile, obviously, for a couple of reasons. At this size, we get a lot of people misidentifying them. We take them to jobs and people see the saltwater crocodiles and they straight away go, oh, is that a freshwater crocodile? Because it's got a narrow snout. And then you show them the freshwater crocodile and they're like, oh, wow, it's so much more narrow than I expected. If you look at them from above, you can see just how narrow that snout is. So that's one of the main giveaways, that really narrow snout. If you look at their teeth line, he's got his mouth open at the moment. So it's a bit hard to sort of show you. Settle down, buddy. It's hard to sort of show you. See, if I just shut his jaws there for a second, see how his teeth line is dead straight. There's no big eye teeth. It's all right, buddy. No big eye teeth. And it's just got those dead straight teeth line. And that's just designed for grabbing fish. Really small, needle sharp teeth for grabbing fish. They don't get very big. They only get to about 3 meters long, would be a really big male. Females tend to only get up to about 1.5 to 2 meters, much smaller. And they're not considered a man eater. So they won't see people as a food item. They will bite people if you go up and approach them. They're very good at defending themselves, and if you go near their nesting sites on the sandy banks in the nesting season, the females will tell you to go away. So you still have to give them plenty of respect and plenty of space like any wild animal, but they don't see people as part of the menu. So nowhere near as big as the salties, but absolutely amazing little crocodilians. We're so stoked to have one of these as part of our collection here at Wildlife Unleashed, and he's still just settling in to this environment. So we don't take him heaps to jobs, but we're just gradually getting him used to it. But we'll put him in the water, go for a bit of a swim. How's that? He's a bloody quick little crocodile. And In the bottom of this pond here, we got sand. You can see there's a bit of algae growing. We've got this awesome filtration system on here. I'll just put that in for now. This awesome filtration system on here that keeps the water crystal clear but allows algae and all the natural stuff to grow, so that we can put fish in there, we can put yabbies in there, all that kind of stuff that then feeds on the algae, make it a really nice ecosystem without using any chemicals. So there's no chlorine, nothing like that. Really nice and fresh water. Little filter down here that you can see, this is a Pond Max filter. So a lot of people use these for outdoor ponds. You can sink that down into the ground. Inside this canister here is just full of sponges, and it's got this little system that allows us to actually backwash them. So you wind this handle here and it backwashes the pond so that you can actually keep that filter nice and clean. And then we got this nice pump over here keeping the water moving so that it keeps that water nice and clear going through that filter there. So that's the Freshie enclosure setup. I still just have to put a bit of a door on there, make it look a little bit nicer like this one over here. Bit of corrugated iron and she'll be done. But this one here, this is the OG. So this is the Saltwater Crocodile enclosure. So I actually picked up this spa bath with a mate of mine when I was still working at Australia Zoo. So we found this on Marketplace for 50 bucks. Went and picked up this spa bath and I already had this timber frame, all this corrugated iron with it. I just made this extended deck off it. This timber frame out here, so they've got a bit of a sunning deck, and it was all just one enclosure to start with, so we didn't have them separated to start with. And I made this enclosure up, same thing underneath here. Have a look at this, we got a bit of a pump going under here. So that's the plumbing situation. What do you reckon, Rufus? Hey, pretty good. That's the plumbing situation. And then over here, so we got a little gauge here. So this one actually has a heater on it. We will be putting a heater on the Freshies as well, but we haven't had him through winter yet. So heater will go on that before winter. You can see right there, that's sitting at 30 degrees. No heating on it this time of year. It's summer, it's nice and warm, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's sitting at 30 degrees at the moment. Under here, much bigger filter. You can see same thing, Pond Max. It's got that big sponge in there, and you can backwash that, which I'll show you actually. So if you just open up this one, really simple system. You turn this valve all while the system's running, and you'll see here, if I turn this handle here, have a look at this. So the water will go really, really brown. And that's you wringing out all the sediment and algae and everything that's actually caught up in amongst the sponge there. So really cool system. Quick backwash like that. Switch this back around to the pond and it's done. How easy is that? So easy. And this one here, this is the heater, Syntax element heater, submersible heater. And then we just got everything plugged in there. So really simple setup. And works a treat for our little crocodiles here. So like I was saying, this all used to be one enclosure at the start for our 2 male salties. So this is actually, we picked up these 2 salties. What have you done to me, Liv? You've changed the code here. Oh, here we go. All right, we've got the code, we cracked the code, and we've broken in. So this all used to be one enclosure. When we first picked up these guys, I'll just prop this up for a second, bear with me. Again, this has a really high-tech system for keeping the lid open. This one right here is what we use to keep the lid open. How good is that? High-tech bit of equipment. Buy these on eBay. And so, like I said, hey, where are we going over here? Look at this. This is our spider exhibit as well. That's actually really cool. Have a look at that. Bit of a funnel system going on. Anyway, getting sidetracked here. So we've got our saltwater crocodile enclosure. At the moment, we've got a divider in it because our 2 boys, they actually started fighting. They reached the age where they started to want to play around with each other and they were using a bit too much teeth and they started to sort of knock each other around a bit. So we decided we wanted to split them up. So I put that divider in between them. But these 2 boys here, Littlefoot and Chomper, came from Townsville Billabong Sanctuary. And the funny story with that is that we just got our license to be able to keep crocodiles, and we're actually up on a Cape York trip right up the top of Queensland when the permits got approved. And we hit up a couple of mates and they're working down at Townsville Billabong Sanctuary, and they said, we've just had a clutch of eggs hatch out. If you guys want a couple of baby salties, swing past, pick them up, take them home with you. So on the way back from our Cape trip, we just swung by Bunnings, grabbed a container, went by the park, picked up a couple of baby salties and drove them back down home. So that was a really cool experience. So let's have a look at this bloke here. This bloke, he's actually been a bit of a menace overnight. So you can see here, we've got to scoop this fish out. That was a live goldfish yesterday afternoon. and he's had a bit of a chomp overnight, so poor little goldfish is no longer. He's survived a surprising amount of time. That goldfish there is probably about a year old now, so he's done a good job. They were really good mates for a long time then, and he decided he was a bit too hungry, so he had a bit of a chomp. Settled down. But yeah, so same thing again. We got a couple of rocks down the bottom, got that algae growing, we got yabbies in the pond. It's gone a bit murky now because he's made an absolute mess of that goldfish, but I'll scoop that out in just a minute. So this little guy here, he's starting to put on a bit of size. You need to settle down, buddy. He's getting a bit too big for his boots, aren't you? So at the moment, this guy's about 3 years old, and you can see straight away there, look at the difference in its head shape compared to the freshwater crocodile. So you can see straight away, they've got those really big eye teeth on the top jaw there. A couple of big eye teeth up the front of their bottom jaw as well. Whereas the freshies don't have that. And you'll notice their jawline is a bit of a zigzag as well. Much wider, bulkier head, really thick skull, super powerful. This is the most powerful set of jaws in the animal kingdom. These guys have upwards of 3,000 pounds per square inch closing jaw pressure for a crocodile that's about 12 or 13 foot long, about the 4 meter mark. But for an animal that's up around the 5 to 6 meter mark, you're looking at around 5,000 to 6,000 pounds per square inch, which is a phenomenal amount of pressure. Put that into perspective for you. It's actually more pressure than the compactor in the back of a garbage truck. So it's a huge amount of pressure, and that's so they can catch and kill their prey really quickly and really efficiently. These guys have been around on our planet for millions of years, 260 million years. They're one of the world's most perfectly adapted ambush attack predators. You can see how they've got those beautiful bumps down their back. Those are called osteodermal plates. They're a little fragment of bone underneath the skin, like a floating bit of bone. So really good armor plating, but they work for a couple of things. So not only are they armor plating, great defense against predators and other crocodiles, they help them heat up. They're like a really good solar panel system. It increases the surface area. It's got heaps of capillaries on the surface there, so they can, oh, you nearly got me. So they can actually warm up their body a bit quicker. And it also allows them to swim underneath the water without making a ripple. So these guys can submerge and swim inches or centimeters below the surface of the water and not make a single ripple. And that's so that they can sneak up on their prey. And the other thing that allows them to sneak up on their prey without exposing their position is actually those little integumentary sense organs. So if you have a really close look, get an even closer, Liv. Don't worry about your fingers. You'll see those tiny little black dots. There's thousands of them. Oh, he's going to get me on the nose in a second. Thousands of little tiny black dots on his bottom jaw and his top jaw, heaps around his head. And then you'll notice there's actually one on every single scale of their body. Have a look at those ones there. So you can see one on every little scale there, every single scale of the saltwater crocodile's body. And what those are is their little pressure receptors. So they can feel everything going on around them. They can feel a fish swimming past. They can feel an animal walking down to the water's edge from hundreds of meters away. Something as small as a bandicoot, they can sense walking down to the water's edge. And that's so that they don't have to use their eyes, even though they've got amazing eyesight and they've got a third eyelid that works like a pair of goggles so they can see underwater. Because they're in dirty, murky water a lot of the time, they're not relying on their eyesight, so they're just going to be able to feel what's going on. As soon as they feel an animal walking down to the water's edge, they start to move in, not making any ripples. They feel the animal getting closer, and as soon as they're within strike range, these guys just absolutely explode out of the water's edge. In the blink of an eye, they can go from the tip of their nose to the base of their tail, and that, for a big crocodile, a 5 to 6 meter crocodile, you're looking at about 3 to 3.5 meters. Getting up to 7 meters long, these guys, it could be a 4 to 5 meter strike range, which is a huge distance to cover in literally a blink of an eye. So really, really effective system. And the reason they can do such a big strike is to do with that big tail they've got there. Have a look how long his tail is. Big, long, flat, laterally compressed tail that allows them to swim up to the cruising speed of a dolphin, about 28 k's an hour in the water. And so it allows them to launch out of the water at the water's edge, launch up out of the water to grab something flying too low over the river system. So they're absolute semi-aquatic weapons. And after talking about all that, what do you have to do to stay safe from a crocodile? It's super easy. They're still one of the easiest apex predators in the world to avoid. All you have to do to stay safe from a crocodile is stay out of the water. It's as simple as that. We have 2, 3-year-old kids answering this question for us every single time we do a talk at a daycare centre. So if they can get it right, I'm sure us adults can get it right as well. It's as simple as that. Stay back from the water's edge. Don't overhang the water. Don't go swimming. If there's a bright yellow sign saying not to do something, listen to that sign. It's probably got your best interests at heart. So listen to the signs, and you're never going to have a problem with a saltwater crocodile. And that is the all-time best thing that we can do to help protect these guys for many more generations. Because unfortunately, every single time somebody makes a mistake in crocodile territory, it's these guys that get blamed for it. And they're constantly getting punishment for humans' mistakes. So stay safe in croc territory, and we can help keep our crocodiles safe as well. Now, I hope you enjoyed meeting our crocodiles today, guys. If you want to see anything more about our crocodiles, let us know in the comments. But for now, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers, guys. Yew.